Good morning, Connect Church. How's your Monday going? Charles Wolf from Connect Church here in Ventura with our Monday morning devotion. Interesting thing happened just as I was sitting down. I'm recording this on Sunday night, Sunday evening, and our grandson lives with us and his son, our great grandson, and I heard them talking out in the front yard. Kind of unusual, so I needed to stretch. I needed to go out. I wanted to see what the evening was like, how the weather was shaping up, for our evening, our night. And so I stepped out and said, "Hi, guys, what's up?" And my grandson, holding up his smartphone, and on the screen it shows an app. And wherever he moved it, it would tell him what he was looking at. Well, Saturn and Jupiter apparently are visible right now, and they're visible to the naked eye. So I said to my great-grandson, Jameson, look at this. Those are huge planets. And he looks up there and all he sees are these two little white dots. Our grandson's holding the phone. You go, no. Look, it says right here, that's Saturn, that's Jupiter. They're huge, massive, huge planets. Well, when you tell a 7-year-old that something is a huge, massive planet, and then he looks up and all he sees is a little teeny white dot, it's kind of hard for him to grasp that. Well, friends, I'm afraid to say it, but we as adults tend to do that. A little different style. We tend to think of God as getting smaller when our problems get bigger. Many of you are struggling right now. Financial issues, employment issues, just not knowing what the future has for you. Some of you have either contracted the COVID-19 or you have loved ones who have, and parents, friends, relatives, maybe neighbors, coworkers, and they're struggling and you're watching them and you're going, wow, maybe this thing is something to worry about, and on it goes. And it's not that the world was trouble-free before this hit either. I mean, there are a lot of times people struggle because bad things do happen to good people. So you look up at God, crying out, "Lord, help me," and you may see two little white dots, not realizing that if you look at it correctly, like Kirk was trying to tell Jameson, you look at this app on my phone, that's a planet. Let's show you a picture of that planet, and then let's show you a picture of the Earth. Well, he's still kind of young to grasp all of that. How are we doing on that? Matthew, chapter 28. End of the chapter is called the Great Commission. It's when Jesus says, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations." Well, just before he says that, he tells the disciples, there were 11 at that time, he said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me." I'm going to repeat that. All authority on heaven and earth has been given to me. Very powerful. But if we look at God as just a tradition, if we look at him as a name we're familiar with, if we look at Jesus Christ as, again, just a name that we're familiar with from our Sunday school lessons as a child or growing up in a church or hearing grandma talk about it, maybe we were not part of the church, but she was always trying to tell us about Jesus. Well, you may have come to a relationship with him now, but it's still very easy for him to start looking smaller when our problems look bigger. And I got to tell you, man, that's the key point. That's really all I have for us today is I want to challenge us. Think of my great-grandson looking up at two of our largest neighbors, our largest planets as part of our solar system. And there were little white dots in the sky, and he just shrugged his shoulders and basically said, "That's great. Can we have a snack?" Think about that next time you say, "I need to ask God for help. I need to turn to my Heavenly Father." And you've got the mentality that you have been focusing so much on our problems. It's become hard to focus on God. If you looked at those planets through a telescope right now, I promise you, you'd be amazed. You would be absolutely amazed. And there's nothing quite like it. My daughter and I built a telescope. I think it's an 8-inch reflecting telescope. We built a mount for it and everything, and it's powerful. You can't even use it to look at the moon because you can only see a section of the moon at a time. On a cloudy night, and it's not so true of things like Saturn and Jupiter and so forth, but on a cloudy night, if you can even get a rough idea of where the moon is hiding behind the clouds, her telescope, you can aim it at that thing and it'll pull the image right through the clouds because it's powerful enough to do that. And that's what we need to be. Our relationship with God needs to be strong enough that we can look to him and see him in the midst of anything. Trials, tribulations, problems, pandemics, relationship issues. We need to be able to still turn to him and remember that he says, all authority on heaven and earth has been given to me. That's all I have for you. You know I love you. Have a great Monday. I'll see you next week.